You wake up, you step on your mat, you breathe, you move, and you feel that beautiful, familiar sense of calm. The world finally makes sense. And then you step off your mat, and by 2 p.m. on a Tuesday, you're back to the racing thoughts, the overwhelmed inbox, and you're snapping at your kids, and you're reacting instead of responding. And it feels like your yoga practice stays exactly where you left it, rolled up in that corner, collecting dust, while you're out there navigating the chaos of real life without any of the tools. If your yoga practice isn't actually changing how you handle stress in your daily life, you're only doing half of it. The ancient yogis didn't just do yoga, they had a full 24-hour operating system, if you will, that allowed them to generate peace on demand. I'm Sushmita, but you can call me Sushi, and today I'm going to give you a roadmap that precisely helps you integrate this yogic lifestyle into your chaotic, messy, busy life. And this is called a Dinacharya, or a daily rhythm that ensures that your yoga practice doesn't just stay on the mat, but becomes the way in which you navigate every single moment. So let's imagine you're sitting at your desk and that deadline is looming, you're like typing away at your computer, and you feel that familiar sense of tightness in your chest. Now, instead of just bracing through it and doing the thing or reaching for your phone and scrolling to distract yourself, I just want you to ask yourself, how am I feeling right now? And depending on how you're feeling, I'm going to give you a simple regulate now decision tree that you can follow when you feel the sense of dysregulation coming on. So if your mind is racing, then your go-to thing should be to lengthen the exhale. Now do at least 6 rounds of this type of breathing, or as long as you have, and I want you to lengthen the exhale. So make the exhale twice as long as your inhale. Now, if you notice that you're overstimulated, maybe you have too much input, too many notifications, you've had too much coffee, then your intervention is to focus on just one point for 60 seconds. It could be a small candle flame. It can be a dirty spot on the wall. It doesn't matter. Name it and focus on it with your eyes. Now, if you notice that you're reactive and someone just pushed your buttons and you feel that sense of anger rising, you feel the heat in your body, then the practice is to pause, to put both your feet on the ground, to notice how your jaw is holding that tension, to relax your fists, and to relax your face. Now, this simple thing just grounds you and reminds you of your deeper values. And if you notice that you're depleted and you're running on fumes and you're completely exhausted, then don't keep doing more. The correct action is to do something like a yoga nidra. So lie down, maybe with an eye mask or just a towel, and replenish your reserves with a short 5 to 10 minute body scan. And if you notice that you're restless and your mind is jumping everywhere, then the practice is to rather move the spine. And you'll notice this. You'll notice that you want to stretch, stand up and do a forward fold. Just move that stagnant energy around. If you're feeling like, you're tapping too much, your knees are knocking the desk, then this is what you need to do, a little bit of movement. And these are not grand spiritual gestures. They're small micro interventions. And they're designed to break that automatic stress cycle and bring you back to your baseline. But for these micro interventions to actually stick, they need to be a part of a much larger framework of Dinacharya. Now, the word Dinacharya essentially means daily routine or daily conduct, and it's not about rigidity, it's about creating a conscious architecture for your days. And even if you have a flexible schedule, you can still see every single moment as a potential to practice these principles. So it's about building a nervous system regulation toolkit that works for you 24/7 and has these inbuilt refills so you never end up depleted. So the mat is where you train in the laboratory, but the day is where you apply what you've learned. And most of us have focused so much on the training, but we've forgotten to take those skills that we learned into the game, into the battlefield. And so Dinacharya is essentially designed to reverse that. It's designed to place emphasis on life, and it's built on very simple principles, and there's 3 of them. The first one is to always have one anchor. So a consistent morning practice or a morning sadhana, and it doesn't have to be a 90-minute Ashtanga session. It can be 10 minutes of pranayama. It can be chanting or doing some japa. The key is to consistently do something every single morning, because that's what sets the tone for the rest of the day. Now, the second thing is to have one refill. And this is usually in the middle of your day, and this is where your Regulate Now toolkit comes in. It could be just 12 rounds of Ujjayi breath. It can be some drishti training or spinal movements or a conscious walk around the block. And essentially, it's something to reconnect, to refill those reserves. And the last is one downshift. So it's an intentional evening release. And this could be doing a couple of stretches before you sleep, going to a kirtan, journaling, or doing like a technology-free time where you have a digital sunset. It's something to signal to your nervous system that the day is done and it's now just time to be. And this is your minimum viable framework for continuing to practice outside of the 60 minutes that you give yourself in the morning. And the goal isn't perfection. Our lives are very busy and you cannot have rigid timelines in which you do it. But how do you know if it's actually working? If you implement this tomorrow, how do you know if it's actually working? The real metric of progress is your trigger to breath latency. Now, latency is just a fancy word, and it basically represents the amount of time that lapses between cause and effect. And so essentially, how long does it take for you from the moment that you feel triggered to the moment where you can consciously feel your breath and feel that sense of state shift or down regulation? So let's say you spill your coffee on your dress just before an important meeting. How long does it actually take you to go from that state of blaming yourself and being critical of yourself and clenching and not being able to access your breath to actually saying, okay, this happened. I'm just going to breathe. I can reposition myself and slowly start again, so to speak. And if it takes you a whole day to recover, or maybe even longer, then that's very low latency. But if it only takes you a few minutes to recover and you come back to that sense of equal samavritti breath, then that is high latency, and we're optimizing for high latency. And so this gap, the moment between the stimulus of what happens and the response, that's where yoga lives. And that's where you can actually claim your freedom. And this is literally rewiring your nervous system. And this is how you choose calm over and over again, even in an external world that feels so chaotic, that has so much going on. Because all we have control over is our responses. All we have control over is whether or not we can do something from the Regulate Now decision tree and come back to that baseline. And so when Dinacharya plays out on a 24-hour cycle, these become kind of intentional containers to refill your energy. And this isn't about being perfectly yogic all day long, all the time. It's about building awareness and slowly perfecting each of these phases of the day. And whenever you notice that you're off center, it's about having a clear and simple path back to that state of regulation. And so it's remembering to practice not just on the mat, but also trying to make it as an integral part of your entire existence on this planet. And when you live like this, when you actually integrate this into your daily life, your life itself becomes like a life of a yogi. Your life becomes the sequence, and every bit of the day becomes something to perfect, something to look forward to, something to practice with. And so you're not just doing yoga as in asanas for 60 minutes on the mat, you're living like a yogi. And the mat becomes much more meaningful because you know that it's preparing you for the rest of the day, and the effects of it last beyond the 60 to 90 minutes in the morning. And that's where it stops being a physical thing and it starts preparing you for a life of consciously relating to the rest of the world and kind of shifting your responses to everything else. And so you'll notice more and more when you start to get stressed, when you start to get triggered, and your relationship to all of these stresses starts to change when you view life itself as Dinacharya. You'll catch yourself earlier, you'll choose to breathe more consciously earlier, you'll notice how you can come back to your state of regulation every single time you go off. And it's not about never going off, you're going to go off, it's just that your return will become faster and faster. And this to me is is true nervous system regulation. This is about living intentionally, and this is how you can take that peace, that clarity, that strength that you find on the mat and carry that into the rest of your life and become more efficient, become more productive, and treat life like a sequence. So if this idea of a 24-hour practice resonated with you, and if you're ready for a kind of yoga that truly follows you off the mat, the Yoga Mastery program is precisely designed to help you implement this. We dive deep into helping you create a personalized Dinacharya, ensuring that every single element is tailored towards your unique life, making sure that you not only understand these principles, but you actually begin to live them. And the link is in the description below to book a free discovery call with me. Come and tell me how your practice is going, what you're struggling with, and I'll try and help you to the best of my capacity. But as always, thank you so much for watching till the very end. If this video helped you, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, comment down, and let me know if there's any other things you're struggling with. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one.